I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, AJ and the Queen fans. We are here to discuss Season 1, Episode 9. I am your host, 123 Jackie B. With me, as always, Mark J. Freeman.
Here in the house.
Jayla Roxx.
Yes, I'm boogie into this music.
And I'm Drennan.
Yes! We're back.
We're so excited to discuss Fort Worth and BBB. BBB. The cameo for this episode was Ginger Minj.
Yes. At first I was like, is that Ginger Minj? But then I was like, okay, it is Ginger
When you heard her voice,
yes.
Minj.
What did you guys think of this episode?
Oh, me first?
You know we go around the table.
I mean, it was relatable. I think the thing that stood out to me most, which I'm sure we'll talk about, was the kid Adam and how he was just very unhappy, being in like his controlling family, which related to like everyone having their kind of like last episode, everyone kind of having like their own sense of drag. But anyways, it's like that's a concept that it doesn't matter what your orientation is. Like kids and teenagers feel that way growing up, the pressures of their families and not holding up to living up to people's expectations. So I was totally that kid Adam with his emo hair growing up. So I feel like a lot of people can kind of relate that storyline.
You know what I thought? What I also appreciated about this is that this show we've always talked about like people not fitting into the boxes we think we've prescribed for them. And so he's saying that he just apparently is like quiet and has dark hair, and then his parents like bought him guitars to try and like explain it, which I thought was funny because it's like, you know, they feel like he has to fit into a certain mold if he's looking a certain way, you know.
Well, all I have is 2 words. Jane Krakowski.
Yes.
That is like that. No, that's somebody I do know. Okay, that's somebody I have to Google, girl. But I was so glad to see her on there because I love her on Kimmy Schmidt, and she's a super hilarious comedian. So I was like, oh, great, perfect character for this. Yes.
She's on 30 Rock too, right?
Yes.
She's on 30 Rock.
Yeah. We didn't get Titus, but we got.
We
Jane.
did. We almost did though. We almost did in the Latrice episode. But,
I hope we do get Titus one day though.
Yes.
What do you think of it, Lorayne?
I liked it. I really enjoyed. I like Jane Krakowski too. She's fun.
So we start the episode at, this is my notes verbatim, construction site with hot construction workers. I like the gratuitous, like, hot construction worker shots. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it turns out that Ruby shows up to what she thinks is the club, but it's been demolished and something else is being built on its site. So we learn that the club is Fancy Pants.
Being gentrified.
Yes. The club Fancy Pants no longer exists, and we learn this is actually due to Jane Krakowski's character's husband. And Chad, right, her husband Chad. But in the beginning of the episode, AJ wants Robert to take her to see her pop-pop, who is in Dallas, and she's like, oh, it's so close, like, please, I want to see my pop-pop, and then Robert manages to convince her to come with her to visit her friend Beth from grade school, or from when they were kids, and we see that Robert is having a really hard time letting AJ go. So they end up at Beth's house, and Beth is known as BBB.
Yes.
Beth Barnes
Beagle. And she has, like, she's put on this, like, fake Texas accent and has this, like, big bouffant hair.
Very Madonna of her. You know, Madonna goes to a country, honey, or she goes there for 2 weeks, and then she comes back with a whole new culture.
Bitch, you from the Midwest!
Right.
And that was, like, we found out, like, that was her drag, was being that character, even though that's not her by any means.
Right. And to me, that was the theme of this episode, is like everybody is in drag, and I kind of took that to mean like everybody is kind of in a performative element around
putting your best foot forward.
around other people. It's like, and we have that, each person has that in them. It's like you go into a certain room or a certain situation and you're like, I'm performing this version of me, you know?
And even when they were growing up, at the scene, jumping ahead, sorry, it really stood out to me was when they were young and they were dancing together as little children, and then her girlfriends come in to play Barbies, and then they immediately stop. And I love the conversation between them. And it was like Robert had this whole thing about having a hard time letting AJ go, but he's having a hard time letting go of the feelings towards Beth and how he treated her, but she stopped doing that because she didn't want him to feel comfortable. So you saw two sides of the coin. So they both kind of had their faults, and I love the conversation of like having full closure by the end of the episode. It was beautiful.
And I did like this story, this scene where, because we feel like Robert a lot through this series is teaching other people lessons, and in this scene Robert learns a lesson because Robert learned that, I was feeling embarrassed about the Barbies, you know, and she was trying to
make
help
him feel
to
better.
make me feel better, you know. And so we get this story of a person who we thought was ostracizing Robert because of his memories, but it turns out like she just wanted him to feel comfortable. And we get that at the party too. It's like he's in, so BBB's husband Chad manages to convince him to do drag for the party because they don't have a performer.
Yes.
And AJ manages through some expert haggling to get him a good price, especially because Chad closed down the club and Ruby was going to get paid $3,000. So I can't even remember what the final figure was. I'm going to say like 4,000.
I
4,000.
think it was 4,000. Yeah.
So Ruby figures like, what the heck? I need the money. And you can see that BBB is so excited when Ruby's in drag and wants to come down and dance with her and everything. But Ruby is feeling uncomfortable because like the people at the party kind of don't know what to make of it. And as she says later, like drag in the living room is kind of uncomfortable.
But I didn't understand that part. I didn't mean to cut you off. But when you were doing the show in the Rinky Dink bar with 4 people and got $3, like I was like, okay. But I guess it's easier to perform outward, and then instead of like an intimate situation, like performing in front of your family members, it's kind of like the same thing.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah,
they were strangers. Well, I guess these were strangers too. But Robert had like still those feelings towards Beth, probably about the discomfort.
And I think the other thing was that the guests at this party clearly didn't know, like they had probably not seen a drag performer or been to a drag performance because they didn't know what to expect. They're like trying to hand her their coat and she's like, I'm not the coat check person, or like trying to get a drink and she's like, I'm not the bartender, you know.
Yeah.
So they just didn't understand like how, like what she was doing, I guess.
Yeah, they're never fun. Parties
What, like
that
working
in
parties
drag,
and stuff?
it's just never fun. I agreed with the episode.
Do you have a
100%.
personal story?
Yeah, share your personal story.
It was funny because I just recently had a friend who went somewhere and he was like promoting me to this person. They wanted me to come do this. And when he first started saying it to me, it was like, oh, they want you to perform at this place and da-da-da. And I was like, okay. And then like as we kept talking, then he said, yeah, you can maybe like tray pass and da-da-da. And I said, no, girl.
What is that?
Tray pass, like hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, trade pass. I thought you said
no.
trade pass. Now I pass up some trade now. You know.
It's just
Trade
not.
pass.
It's not this. I mean, there's just some like a day drag isn't fun. Like I don't care what anyone says. If you're paying someone to do day drag, you're paying a ton of money because I wouldn't do it. There's just no way. It's
So
just,
they wanted you to do
so
like
much,
the hors d'oeuvres and stuff.
Well, I don't know, but my friend just kind of said that in conversation. I said, I'm not doing anything where I have to work. Like, my job would be performing, entertaining, hosting, not passing food,
Not to
not
serve.
making drinks, not doing that.
I mean,
Although
you
Mark
can't work
is
and serve.
capable of doing that.
You
Lorayne
can work
said
and
that.
serve. Work.
Serve your look. Serve that runway,
But if
honey.
you ask
Right.
me for ranch, I'm punching you in the
Right.
face. Period.
But I understood that, and it is that is different than being in a club with 3 people. At least in a club with 3 people, there was a stage proper
There's
and
lighting,
lighting
yeah.
and loud music. I mean, I've done shows with a boombox, and it's painful. It's
With the tape?
painful. Yeah, I mean, it's like, come on.
Did
like,
you kick it in someone's face like on Mean Girls?
No, but that's a great idea. I should have thought about it.
Next time.
So yeah,
And
I understood it.
you could tell that BBB kind of wanted, we all have these like fond memories of friends and things we did when we were younger, and so she kind of wanted the party for her to be that like dance party in the living room,
right?
But because they're older and there's a whole group of people there, it just it wasn't that same like fun dance party in your living room.
I was a little confused by it though, because from the way it was first presented, Tommy, Ginger Minj, the party planner, they kept making all these comments about how she has these wonderful parties and everybody loves the entertainment, but then when they had her, everybody seemed confused by it. So that confused me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, you just set this up saying that she has these great parties and these magicians and all these weird things.
Well,
so you would think that they would be expecting something like
Well, they weren't. They were expecting little Susie down the street to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
I guess maybe
not
that's
6'4" black men in a weed.
Yeah.
But the other thing I didn't understand, like kind of backing onto that, was that Tommy says these parties are keeping their marriage together, and so in my mind, I was kind of thinking along the lines of like a kinky kind of party,
swingers,
Swingers parties.
like something a little bit more like sexy or mix it up. So I was confused too, because I was like, it doesn't seem like it's going this way either, because I thought it was going to turn into something where they start expecting Ruby to do some kind of like
wet t-shirt contest.
or something like that.
God.
Something like where she comes out with a whip or something, and then she's like, "Oh no, girl, I didn't sign up for this." And then I was like, "Okay, well, what does this have to do with their marriage?"
Yeah,
now?
it definitely gave me like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Mad Men, kind of Mad Men vibes of how they would have these parties, and they're all performative. It's kind of just to kind of show like, oh, look at my amazing house, my marriage, it's all picture perfect, and we have entertainment. So I guess how I perceived the episode and how they were going about it, just the whole performance of having that perfect relationship and entertaining your friends, even though Robert was not having it, because of his discomfort. And I'm sure Beth thought it was going to be like a great time, like Robert's going to have time of his life because he's free being himself as Ruby. So I don't know, that was my interpretation.
And it is weird because like the marriage issue doesn't resolve either. It's like you have Robert and BBB talking in the bedroom, and they're like, they seem to resolve their issues with each other and that they want to keep in touch. But then, like Robert basically makes this comment, oh, like, yeah, I would have stuck with him for the $6,000 bet or whatever. And then there's $60,000 bet. Yeah. Oh my God, I keep forgetting. And then, but then you never have any other talk about their relationship or whatever. It just seems like, oh yeah, I'm just going to stay with this guy that I'm not crazy about.
Well, a lot of that happens in like the drag community. We're so quick to call everyone allies, but I feel like if your husband is not cheering for you and doing what they can to also make you feel welcome and stuff like that, then you are not an ally yourself. And that's that. You can't be half of an ally. If you're married to someone and only you get to go to the gay bar and your husband's, oh, he's not comfortable, or, I don't want him to be around that, then you're not an ally.
You're an enabler of that mentality of him.
Drag hag. Yeah.
But Chad seemed fine with it.
He seemed okay. I don't think that he was, I don't think he was bothered by it.
But that's how they always feel. Like, they're not bothered from it, but the wife will hear from it eventually.
Well, but we didn't see that.
Of course.
Right.
Because she's not going to put that out there. You know what I mean?
Because that's her drag. It all comes full circle.
There you go.
Oh, maybe season 2 we'll get some clarification. Jan will come back as BBB. So
we have this, as we kind of touched on earlier, we had this like side story with AJ and the ghost, or Adam. When they first get to the house, they're told by the lady who works there, don't go into this room, and then AJ gets this room with all these dolls. And so AJ, being AJ, eventually goes into the room, and it turns out that's where the son is, Adam, and he just talks really quietly, and AJ is enjoying hanging out with him so much that like Robert is missing his time with AJ, and they do roses and thorns at the end of each day.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so
tell everybody what rose and thorn is.
So rose is your good thing for the day, and then thorn is your bad thing.
We should do that for our special segment this episode. Let's do it. Save it for later. Can we, please?
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So
let us know in the chat.
So I'm sorry. So Robert is bummed because like AJ's hanging out with this other person, and he kind of has to learn how to deal with like not just like having her like want to go see her pop, but then like making other friends as well, because like at this point Robert feels like this is my friend, you know, this is my person that I hang out with. So any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on the Adam and AJ of it all?
Chuck says the whispering was so funny.
It was really funny.
I love
it was
when
really
AJ
funny. And then I thought it was cute when Robert was like, I got used to it. It's okay, because AJ was translating.
At first, she's like, huh?
Yeah.
But even then, he got used to it, and you can kind of just see like sometimes actions speak louder than words. You can feel like the sadness in someone, even though they might not be talking to you. And I definitely felt that Adam was just very unhappy with his living condition of his parents, and it was sad. Yeah, it's unfortunate
and that never really gets resolved either.
A little bit, you know, when he came back to like the dinner, not the dinner, the like breakfast.
Yeah, he goes to the breakfast table, so that's good. I mean,
it's a start.
It's a start.
Progress. Here's to progress.
And then meanwhile, while all of this is going on, we have Briana at Lewis's door, kind of like pressuring Lewis into letting him know where AJ is. And I just thought of Jayla from a couple episodes back saying, Lewis, you gave away the whole thing. And it's like he does it again here. He's like, she went to this place and this is
Oh, when Briana took the money.
Yeah.
Briana, no.
Yeah.
But then there she was this the episode when I'm getting it mixed up, where she was like yelling and they were like going back and forth.
Yeah.
I was like getting heated. It was giving me anxiety for sure.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, wait, was it this episode when they were yelling at each other?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Spoiler. No, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't sure if it was this episode or last episode.
And then she takes Lewis's money and runs out.
It was the next episode.
Oh, it was the
steals
next
money
episode?
and runs out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Wait, was it?
Yeah, I have it written in my Dallas
Oh my
notes.
gosh.
Yeah.
But it was this episode when they were yelling. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
But this is the episode where Patrick thinks Lewis is in love with Robert. He catches him on the phone.
We're so sorry, guys. It's hard. We're taping.
I'm
We're
reading from
taping
my notes,
3
yeah.
episodes at once, and we had to watch them back to back.
Yeah.
So,
Which I did today.
Yes, binging.
This is our culture, guys.
I support you.
But yeah.
So Lewis and Patrick's relationship is falling
Patrick
apart
catches
in
Lewis
this
talking
episode.
to Robert on the phone, and that's when he yells at him and runs out. Yeah.
And I think that's a prime example of, I think we were talking about this before the show started, of wanting to be in a relationship, and then you kind of like get there and you realize it's not what it's all cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And then this guy that you've been crushing on is really just, he's not good for you, and it's very relatable.
In it for the idea.
Yeah, exactly. And Lois, I think he just really wants validation from not a relationship, but I think it was a relationship with Robert, which I feel like Robert's kind of been sleeping on him for sure in this season. Even the first episode, he wasn't giving Lewis credit, and I think that's all Lewis really wants. You know? So,
in the end of the episode, we have Adam deciding to help AJ by driving the RV to see Pop, which is like, he gets into the car and he's like, where's the button to turn it on? And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then he flips the RV over, and then
how is that thing still work?
I know.
Like,
It's wild.
The camp of it all.
Right.
And so he flips the RV over, and then Robert sees it and runs out. And I mean, it was so heartwarming to see that, you know, here is this RV that's like Robert's life. And of course, the thing he is worried about is AJ, because that's like, AJ is his life right now. So it was nice to see that moment of that culmination of like everything Robert's been feeling towards AJ, of like, oh my God, my whole life is in shambles in the driveway here, and all I want to do is make sure that AJ is okay.
He just doesn't want to let her go, and he feels in this episode, he definitely felt that AJ was totally fine with leaving Robert for Pop, and she wants to get to Pop because that's her ideal relationship.
Yeah, there you go.
There's her.
Yes.
She's seeking validation from Pop. Lewis is trying to seek validation from Patrick.
Yeah.
Robert still wants validation from Damien, Hector, whatever the hell you want to call him. You know, it's just really sad.
So
And we want validation from you.
Yes.
So give us 5 stars if you're listening to
I love this.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Shout
you.
out to everyone joining us in the chat. Chucky
Yes.
Chuck, Joseph Boza,
Billie
Billie
Jean
Jean
Girl.
Girl.
Yes.
We appreciate you guys joining us live. We appreciate the comments and ratings on iTunes. If you give us a 5-star rating with comments, or if you comment on YouTube, or if you join us in the chat, you could become fan of the week. And that goes for our Drag Race show too. So just so you know. The episode ends with Tommy deciding to become Fanny Pack, the drag queen, which I thought was a great name. And that was a great name.
I wonder if someone is already named Fanny Pack. Do you ever think that? Like, what if there's a drag queen out there watching this show?
Like,
she's as Jayla would say, shaking her fist.
No, punching the air.
Punching the air. That her name was stolen. You know, I wonder. You got to trademark your names, people.
And I forgot to mention the fact that AJ in this episode drinks this spiked punch and gets like really drunk, and then Robert
vodka.
Robert
That
has
is a
to take
go-to
care
drink,
of it.
honey. That is a go-to.
And AJ tells Robert he loves him.
Yes.
I
And,
know.
and Robert tells Lewis that he's not ready to let go of AJ.
Yeah.
He's making excuses to keep him around.
So
Her
it's a-
around. Sorry.
So it's a very emotional penultimate episode.
And Robert tells AJ he will miss her.
Yes.
So sad.
That's so sad.
I don't want this show to end.
And then that's why. And then at the end is when AJ tells Robert, because he says, "Okay, well, I'll take you to your pop pops," and he says, "No, I haven't come this far to miss
we're going
you,
to see your
miss you,
pageant."
see you
Yeah.
do the pageant." Yeah.
They love each other.
I know. We love that. So what is your quote of the week?
Oh, quote of the week goes to BBB when he says when Robert asks where'd that accent come from, and she said it came with the house.
Oh my God, I love it.
My quote of the week is when Officer Patrick Kennedy is getting upset and he goes, "I'm April in the policeman's calendar."
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, he was so worried that he was like, I'm hotter than him, you know, and that's such another wild, just stereotype in life that, you know.
Take us to church, Jackie.
Yeah, well, it's like you love people for people, so it shouldn't be too out of the realm for Lewis to be in love with his friend that he's had for a very long time, you know, that's been with him through thick and thin, and
The stroke.
and then just the kind of self-centeredness of being like, well, I'm hot, so you should like me better, you know.
Well, that's whole West Hollywood.
And then it's kind of it's funny. Lewis is blind. He's blinded by love from Patrick. So
Come on, analogies.
So it all comes full circle.
The fan of the week, you guys, is all of you. We thank
Yay!
you so much for watching us this season.
All season long. Now look under your chair. There's more hummus. Thank you, Kimchi and Miss Cracker.
Dead. I'm gonna stop.
You guys need to when we go to drag con.
Mark
we need
made
to say
the
the
hummus.
to
Yes,
give
we
them
have
when we
to.
interview
Oh,
them.
that'll be our merchandise.
We have to. Look under
Let's
your
get
chair.
cooking. We're gonna do a DIY video. It's gonna be cute.
Come on, comments.
So now we have news and gossip.
Ooh.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, Ollie, you mentioned that Rue is going to be on
Yes,
SNL.
SNL.
Yes.
The 8th with Justin Bieber, and I think it's his first time ever hosting.
First time, yes.
So this is going to be really cool. He's going to be on all the
Rue's
skits.
first time, not
Rue's.
Justin Bieber's first time.
Right,
Yes.
right. Justin Bieber's just going to be performing Yummy.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting, and I'm sure Rue is going to turn out some looks. Possibly. We'll see. But some of it's recorded, right? Some of the SNL.
Yeah.
I don't watch SNL. Do you guys watch SNL?
I
I don't watch it recently.
There's very few recorded segments.
Okay,
You know, there's it's usually the more
There's, one.
high budget numbers. I think in the one with Adam Driver there was 2 that I can recall off the top of my head, because there was Adam Driver did a Lonely Island type music thing, and then
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. RuPaul is on such a mainstream kick now, and
Yes.
obviously, I'm sure he's going to be promoting season 12.
Well, I mean, to be fair to Rue, they have they did a drag queen skit in
with
SNL
Trinity and
last season, so it's it's only fair to then invite Ru on there to invite someone who like made drag mainstream.
Right. They're talking about Year of the Rat. It is Year of the Ru, honey. We have 5 seasons of Drag Race coming out this year alone. Plus 2 drag cons. It's insane.
Yeah.
And an AJ and the Queen. So this is Ru's year.
It really is. 2020.
It really is.
I love it.
And then Mark has some tea as to the season 12.
That face.
The season 12 promo. What they told them to wear.
Let us have it.
It's our gossip. We had news. The gossip.
Okay, so I don't know if everybody else was just as confused as well when it dropped and you watch. It was the 14-minute trailer. So they each come into the workroom, I guess ish, space, and I thought they were probably, from what I was seeing, I was getting goth punk.
That's what I was getting.
That was the look that I was getting.
Yeah, like Mad Max.
Yeah, kind of. Well, here's what, according to Jackie Cox NYC on Instagram, she says, our prompt for the runway was urban streetwear with a political protest vibe. And I don't know about you guys, but I did not get that.
Now,
it wasn't until I saw that I was like, really?
I guess that's why there was the American flag in it, which you couldn't explain.
Yeah, so to me, that made more sense going with, because then it switches to American theme, which then to me was like complete gear shift. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't dislike either necessarily, but they just together and how it was edited to me seemed weird. But I guess if that was the theme of the runway, it was just missed.
But then again, we're Drag Race experts here at
Right.
AfterBuzz TV.
Right.
So listen to me carefully. If you have to explain your drag on the runway and it's more than 2 sentences, then you did not achieve, and you will be in the bottom 2.
Yeah.
Not just saying her; they all should be in the bottom 2 this week. After that, I'm congratulations to the girls of season 12. I know the Boulets are not having it right now since we're gossiping. And I didn't like the red, white, and I like I said, I did not get it at all.
It just seemed weird. And it seemed weird because that's an older Ru song, and I was expecting a new Ru song or something like that. So it kind of seemed like a little backpedal for me, which kind of was like,
But we'll see. They have a lot of. We have a lot of.
And
things
now I
up
want to
there.
rewatch. Now knowing what the theme is, I want to rewatch it because I think my favorites will change from what I saw. Because I was kind of going based on a grunge punk. Which one did I like? Which one stood out the most? But now I'm like, oh, well, now I need to rewatch it. So.
But we still don't know to what extent, because in the promos they're always like assisted with their outfits.
True.
So we also don't know to what extent someone came with a certain outfit and they were like, oh no, switch this for this and add this and this.
Afterthoughts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other news and gossip was just go see Billy Porter's Grammy outfit.
Oh.
It's phenomenal.
The lampshade. Honey.
Yes, and it moves.
Yeah.
Lil
I didn't
Nas.
realize it moved.
Do we know the
Nas.
designer of that? We have to shout the designer out.
Should I Google?
I think we are
Billy
on it.
Marcus
But
Googling.
while we figure it out, I did like the motor lampshade.
Grammy.
Maybe it was a nod to,
Throwing shade.
I guess
Throwing
so.
shade.
If you have to explain your outfit, girl.
I do love that Billy Porter, I mean, I love that he always wears something that he enjoys. You know, he just goes out and in all of these award shows just kills it with whatever outfit he has because it's something that makes him happy.
Okay, so post-star Billy Porter's look, styled by Sam Rattel, Scott Sundenberg designed thank you, turquoise jacket jumpsuit combo topped off with blah blah blah. Yeah, so there you go.
And it's the Grammys. It's like their time to shine, literally shine, and have fun with the Grammys. It's not like it's like the Oscars. We have to be all prim and formal.
But even then,
he'll probably do something like
address.
Oh yeah, and then there's also the backlash about season 12. I don't know, is this AJ and the Queen related? But.
No, this is it's RuPaul related.
Yeah.
It's,
Is it 12?
It was.
Yeah.
I think it was Detox and
well,
Carmen Carrera.
I think it was Carmen Carrera that kind of again stirred the pot.
Yeah, it was Detox.
We're talking about that there's backlash from some of the past alumni queens that there are no trans queens on season 12. So
there will be.
Go on Twitter.
They will be after the show. You know how they do. So
yeah.
I mean, maybe. But like at the end of the day, we're still gonna watch it. We can say whatever we want. We're still gonna watch it until there is a platform for it. I mean, can't complain until you make it for yourself.
And if anything, Dragula will have it because it's last season.
Yeah,
they had it.
Well, there you go.
Right, you don't want to say too much because then they'll cancel us and, say whatever, so.
Fired.
Yeah, we're all fired.
You can find me at 123 Jackie B on all platforms. Mark, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lorayne Love. That's Lorayne Love.
Well, you can tell me how you feel about season 12 coming up. Follow me at Who is Jayla Roxx. That's 2X's3 if you're nasty.
And I'm Ollie Drennan. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ollie Dreamer. I'm so sad we didn't do the Rose and Thorn segment.
Oh,
Tune in for the next one. Our grand finale.
Tuned. Episode 10.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.